Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to English Debating Class Group 6. My name is Dila Lewand as the moderator on debating today's. In the government team, we have Arsi Syahid Yusuf Mi'raj, Dila Lewanda, and Agus Indi Rahman. And the opposition team, we have Sulistyaningsih, Ivania Tiara and Muhammad Rifqi. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, today's motion is about mudik banning during the COVID-19 pandemic. I call the first speaker to open the case from the government team. I call Arsi Syahid Yusuf Mi'raj. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, the moderator. My name is Arsi Syahid. I am from the Affirmative team. It has been more than a year that the COVID-19 pandemic has spread in Indonesia and took many lives. Various policies have been implemented by the government for preventing the spread of the virus, including the inauguration of the Mudik ban. The Mudik Lebaran tradition in 2021, which starts on May 6 until 17, 2021 has been officially abolished. In fact, a ban on long-distance Mudik for all types of transportation has been made. That is Peraturan Menteri Perhubungan Number 13 2021 about pengendalian transportasi during Idul Fitri 1442 Hijriah in order to prevent COVID-19. Here as affirmative team, I agree because the first, the transmission of COVID-19 is still high, while the mudik lebaran and long holidays are feared to cause new clusters. As always, every long holiday, there are always COVID-19 cases. Of course, this must be controlled and limited. Second, not all residents have received the corona vaccine, and it is a high risk during mudik lebaran activities with high mobility of people. As of March 14, 2021, only those one of the COVID-19 vaccine has been given to 9.96% of the total target recipients of vaccine in Indonesia in stage 2 vaccination. And third, relationships doesn't have to be face-to-face, and now the times are complicated. Gatherings can also be done virtually via telephone, video call. So, the Mudik ban does not reduce the opportunity to stay in touch. With the Mudik banning, it does not mean that the government want to harm the community. On the contrary, the government want to protect the community from the large spread of the coronavirus. Okay, thank you for me. I give it back the moderator.
Thank you, Arsi Syahid. Arsi Syahid, let us invite the first speaker from the opposition team. Please welcome Sulistyaningsih. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the moderator. So my name is Sulistyaningsih. I'm from the opposite team. I disagree with the government regulation about mudik banning. Why? Because the first one is the rules for mudik banning by the government are not appropriate. If the government worried about mudik, how about those who travel? How about those who travel in public places? What's the difference between tourist attraction that have been opened but mudik is banned? The government has allowed Tarawih prayers in mosque and even the tourism sector during the Eid holiday. In fact, the tourism sector has been directly approved by Sandiaga Uno as a Minister of Tourism and Creative economy. Also, there is a possibility that people will misuse tourism attraction as a cover so that they can mudik without worrying about the consequences of the applicable ban. The second one, many people don't care about the rules. People will steal the start for mudik before the date specified in the regulation. So based on data that I got received by the Bali Tribune on April 22, 2021, 571 people mudik via the Mengwi terminal. And on May 2, 2021, it jumped by more than 100%. Meanwhile, 5,728 people left Bali or mudik via Gilimanuk Harbor, up to 10,270 people on April 30, 2021. So the ineffectiveness of this policy is starting to appear. And the third one is people also looking for shortcuts or routes that are free from the police. What I got from pemerhati masalah transportasi Budianto, he said that based on last year's experience, there were still many people who were desperate for mudik and tried to reach their destination through the alternative route. And from the affirmative team, Aras said that gathering can be done virtually. For me, I totally disagree with that argument. Virtual communication won't be a problem if there are the proper device. But in reality, especially in Indonesia, these changes will result in a gap between underdeveloped people and those who do not understand about technology. And what I found in the survey result from Pusat Penelitian Perkembangan Iptek Lembaga Ilmu Pengetahuan Indonesia (LIPI) stated that 54% of 1,827 respondents in 10 cities in Indonesia didn't understand the issue related to science and technology. So I can conclude that the government regulation is ineffective for the Indonesian people. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sulistyaningsih, for the arguments given. Let us invite a second speaker from the government teams. Please welcome Dila Lewanda. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. I'm Dila Lewanda Ningrum as the second speaker of the affirmative team. Uh, I agree with this regulation because mudik banning can be an effective measure because the mobility and interaction of the community is more restricted. Uh, Also, this policy that limits mobilization is quite instrumental in suppressing the spread of the virus if it is implemented optimally and in line with other government policies. And then the vaccination also has the potential to be more optimal with the enactment of the policy. And the last is this mudik banning policy should be appreciated and accepted with great heart by the public because it can be an effort to prevent the emergency of new strains of the COVID-19 virus, including the B117 variant, which is anticipated by the government. That's all from me. I give it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Dila Lewanda. Now let us invite the second speaker from the opposition team. I call upon Ivania Tiara Falalini. Time is yours.
Thank you. Yeah. So I disagree with the affirmative team that has stated that Mudik banning can be an effective way in suppressing the spread of coronavirus because what is important is how we maintain cleanliness, how we use masks, how we avoid direct contact. What's matter is how we stick ourselves to the health protocol. Mudik banning itself may not be a problem to the increasement of COVID-19 cases, since the people or the family that do mudik are most likely has tested themselves since they don't want to infect their family. And according to Said Abdullah, chairman of the DPR's budget agency, this momentum must be managed to familiarize the people with the new normal era. And there are also great cultural and economic aspects in every homecoming activity. Also, the mobility of people from the city as an economic center to the village is quite high. In Java alone, the Lebaran homecoming tradition contributes 58% of the national GDP. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivania, for the arguments given. Let us invite the third speaker from the government team. Please welcome Agus Indi Rohman. Time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. As the moderator said before, my name is Agus Indi Rahman, and I'm from the government side. I want to address some of the point that the opposition has been presented. First is, unlike prayers, Mudik or homecoming, although have become something of a tradition in Indonesia, it is not something of a necessity or something that we must do. There is no rule in Islam or any other religion to visit your relative within a certain time like Eid. The second point is, when you need to interact with your relative to get in touch with them, as someone before me has said, you can do it online. If there is something like your relative is living in a place outside of any internet service, or they aren't really good in communication with technology, there is more analog alternative like mail using the post office. Next point is the banning of Mudik is really supposed to be spreading the volume of those who do homecoming or Mudik, because with lesser volume within a certain time, it is easier to check one by one those who traveling, whether they are infected or whether they are going to Mudik at all. And the last point is, why isn't tourist destination or other public places got closed in while Mudik is banned? Because there is a need to recover economically for those public places. And there are also those public places also don't run fully. They also still need to do the COVID protocol, safety protocol like social distancing and other rules that involve. And the rule is those rules are easier to apply in public places. Public places like mosques and tourist destination, we unlike in individual houses. Yeah, that's all for me. I will give the time back to the moderator.
Thank you, Agus. Okay, let us invite the third speaker from the opposition team. I call upon Muhammad Rifqi. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Rifqi as an opposite team. As an opposite team, we completely disagree with this statement because there are many evidences that we can found that the regulation of Mudik ban, the first one is this regulation caused a lot of losses, especially in the economic sector, where this sector was really badly affected during the current pandemic like this day. Some fact that we can found that the mobility of people from the city as an economic center to the village was quite high. In Java Island, the tradition of mudik during Eid period contributes 58% of the national gross domestic product. Second, besides that, this also has an impact on transportation service providers. With the enactment of this regulation, of course, the public interest in traveling will decrease, so that it will certainly reduce of the number of use transportation service, where this it moment is something that transportation service provide has been waiting for to reap 100% profits doubled compared to the previous months before. If this situation continues, of course, people's income will decrease. And also people's purchasing power will decrease to this will also have an impact to the other sector. And the last, according to the statement that we can use an online meeting like we already use in school activity, the most common question that will come is that really helpful to use. Since based on the fact according to LIPI, there are 54% people in Indonesia have not mastered on technology like using mobile smartphone, especially if they using an online meetings, and the most common problem complain about telecommunication signal that are not yet fully even distributed in whole areas in Indonesia. And of course, if people use letter to send by post, the letter can be arrived on time because there may build up in each of them. Postal delivery, especially during Eid period, uh, the situation is exacerbated by different geographical condition, and not all areas can be reached by postal service. Okay, that's all for me. I give it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Muhammad Rifqi, for the arguments given. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this debate will resume with replay speeches to sum up their case. I call upon Ivania Tiara Falalini from the opposition team. Time is yours.
Thank you. Um, I can say that the argument from the affirmative team, which stated that the vaccination has the potential to be more optimal with the enactment of the policy, is inaccurate because vaccines are not guaranteed. In fact, many people can still be positive for COVID-19 after getting the vaccine. For example, the former region of Serang, Ratu Tatu Khasana, was infected with COVID-19 after following the full vaccination that consists of 2 doses. And Bandung City Regional Secretary Emma Sumarna was also reported positive for COVID-19 after the vaccination. We, from the opposite team, are disagree with Mudik banning during the COVID-19 pandemic because there are many public places like tourism attraction that had gotten permission to open. Then what is the point of banning Mudik? What is the point of banning Mudik if people will still do early start Mudik or look for alternative roads? Also, people who do Mudik will not want to infect their family. In addition, not all Indonesian citizens have mastered technology that well. Again, what matters is how we act accordingly to the health protocol. Thus, we oppose the Mudik banning policy. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivania, for summing up the case. Now is from the government team who has the final say in today's debate. I call upon Dila Lewanda. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. From the affirmative team, we agree with Mudik banning because Mudik is not something that it needed to be done. There is other alternative that you can do to communicate with relatives. If you really need to meet your with your relatives, it's better to meet them in a more safe time. Then it holiday. Tourist destination is needed for local livelihood and have been running in a more restricted way. We don't need to close it. Mudik banning also can be effective measure because the mobility and interactions of the community is more restricted. Also, this policy that limits mobilization is quite instrumental in suppressing the spread of the virus if it is implemented optimally and in line with other government policies. To conclude, with the Mudik banning, it doesn't mean that the government wants to harm the community. On the contrary, the government wants to protect the community from the larger spread of the coronavirus. That's all from me. I give it back to the moderator.
Okay, well, thank you to the governments and the opposition team for the summing up the case. Ladies and gentlemen, English debating class group 6 has come to the end. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.